We're back with the 182nd inductee into the Indiana High School Baseball Coaches Association here at the Red Carpet Show at Keystone at the Crossing. Our next inductee is Paul Ehrman from Batesville, Indiana, 45 years as a man in blue. That means umpire. So Paul, congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame. Always wanted to get an umpire. We had Mr. Butts in here a few years ago, but me being an umpire, we're kind of underappreciated sometimes, but they can't play without us. Says here, like I mentioned, 45 years as an umpire, and Ball State University in 1967. Can you talk a little bit about how did umpiring kind of fall in your lap there to get started and exceed 45 years here?
It came about real easy. In 1963, I graduated from Carroll High School and thought I was a really good baseball player. So went to Ball State and they had tryouts and I walked on. And Ray Louthan, the coach at that time, said, "Kid, you are way too slow." And he said, "You can't play baseball at college level." But he said, "You'd be a good umpire." I was a catcher. And he said, "I can tell you love the sport." So I went to Ernie Baldwin, who ran Baldwin's Sporting Goods in downtown Muncie. And in 1964, I took the IHSBCA test. At that time was really hard because you had to go to a certain time, a certain area. They supervised while you took it and the whole thing. And the rest is history. I started umpiring in 1964. Did a lot of high school games immediately. At that time there was a need for them in the Muncie area, and traveled. And the good thing that happened to me was I had had a touch of umpiring back in '58 from some Little League with my brother, so I knew I enjoyed it. And when he said I couldn't play baseball, I said, "Okay, I'll just be an umpire."
When I was at that age too, and again I'm kind of putting you on the spot, did you set the bar? In other words, did you say, "Well, hey, I umpire, I might as well, I want to be a major league umpire"? Did you have any aspirations of that?
For 1 year. Well, in 1964, being a freshman, sophomore year, but my wife and I we were college students there, and we decided in June of 1965 that we were going to get married. And for the next 45 years, I umpired over my wedding anniversary almost every year, which was trying at times. But when they started the IHSA tournament, I was there, started working the first one. But I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a varsity basketball coach, which I pursued. And the umpiring just fit perfectly into my realm of things I enjoyed, and had a very understanding wife, and just pursued it from then on as an umpire. Never went to the major league camps, never did any of that. Of course, I worked many levels. I mean, I worked semi-pro ball, I worked college ball for 20-some years in the Big Ten and the MAC conference, plus high school and Legion ball.
It says here you've worked first IHSA sectional 1967 through 2009, then you had 26 regionals, 15 semi-states, 8 state finals. Everybody always asks me this when I was umpiring. You averaged 40 high school and college games through the season, so that takes a lot of time.
I kind of go back to what Greg said a while ago. I didn't know these numbers until they notified me I'd made the Hall of Fame, and my son got a hold of Ray Kraft and some people we knew at the IHSA and started putting numbers together, because I had not kept track. I knew I'd worked from the time the sectional started. I'd worked every one. And worked with Charlie Moss and Phil Eskew and Gene Cato and all of them, over the years. But I couldn't tell you how many regionals and semi-states and state finals until they come up with. I said, "Okay, you know more about it than I do."
Also, you were District Umpire of the Year numerous times. What made you start a school?
A lack of officials. We had a tremendous lack of umpires in our area, and we're kind of sheltered. We're down southeastern Indiana, and you get to Shelbyville, And from there on down, you get to Richmond, there on down, there's a lot of schools. I mean, there's the Milan's, Jacksonville's, little bitty, you know, a lot of single A, double A schools, but not very many 4 and 5A. But I didn't have any umpires, and I'd go to work a game, and these athletic directors were just, you know, they were going crazy. Said, we can't get them. So I started an association, and I was fortunate to have at that time I was athletic director at East Central High School, and I put together a program with a student secretary that my wife was a business teacher, and we started getting hold of other officials and developed a program, and we took care of every school in southeastern Indiana from Gary O'Neill at Madison all the way up to Shelbyville, over to Franklin County where Jim Hughes was, and everything. And then they sent me their schedules, and I assigned the umpires. And it worked very well for years. And plus that gave me a lot of leeway. I would set my schedule up around their schedules so I could keep my college travel, because I still did a lot of traveling with college. And that was the nice thing about being an athletic director in the spring. I had great help. My wife was a teacher in that system, so if there was ball games and things, she helped while I was Notre Dame, Purdue, wherever I was traveling to for my assignment with college baseball.
Right. Now, you mentioned here your most memorable experience, 1978-79. You twice umpired the state finals with Evansville Memorial's Don Mattingly, of course, the New York Yankee first baseman and now a major league manager. He complained much?
No. And you know, you'll hear this in my speech tonight, but I never really worried about what the batters said, and I never really cared what the coaches said. And I never paid attention to the pitcher. But my biggest thing I worked with were the catchers. And boy, I established relationship before the game ever started. We were on a first name basis. I got down and took a few pitches and told them where I was going to be, and if I wasn't there, they would tell me they weren't to look at their coach and say, I don't know where it is, or, you know, all these kind of things. 45 years, I had very, very few problems.
Wow, that's amazing. Again, final question. What's this honor mean to you?
It was unbelievable, and I guess it was unbelievable. I was very fortunate in coaching high school basketball. I coached 2 Indiana All-Stars. I had 2 boys that played for me that led the state in scoring, one at Delphi and one at Batesville. Both went on to play major college basketball. One of them will be here tonight. And I always wondered what it'd be like to be a Hall of Famer. And you look at this list of, there's only 3 other umpires out of 182 people that are on that list. So I felt like, what's the odds of being a 4th? And when Ziggy got on, we talked about it, and I knew Doc Bolton, and when Gene Butts got on, he called me, and we talked, and you know, Gene and I had been friends. He was an official thing, you know. And when Ray called me, I guess just like everybody else in the room, you're kind of like, are you serious? You know, you're calling me that you're actually going to put another umpire, you know. And I've talked to some people here today, George Ferris from Taylor, where I taught for years, and I umpired their state final game when Taylor made it that year. Unbelievable honor. I mean, my son, who works for me in business, and another gentleman here in Indianapolis, and the baseball coach from East Central, the ones that nominated me. And they nominated me, and they told me they nominated me. And you know how when you found out you're nominated, you're like, okay. And then you kind of forgot about it. And in between there, I had a lot of things happen in my life to me physically and things, and I had retired in 2009, thank goodness. But it was an honor, and I had it on my bucket list for many years. That'd be so cool to be in the Hall of Fame for the Baseball Coaches Association. And I went through that list today up in my room and start checking off all the people that I umpired for and all the people that I knew. Oh my gosh, what a list of people. I mean, it's incredible. So I feel very, very honored.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to your speech tonight.
Thank you.
Paul Ehrman, the 182nd inductee into the Hall of Fame here.